feeling that is of a vibration of the nature that you know is out of alignment with your truth, of course, as we have always said, allow it, acknowledge it, own it, because you cannot change what you do not own. But now, understand it is a very powerful tool of transformation. And first and foremost, it is a very powerful tool of diffusing and neutralizing the negative vibration in anything that comes up. So, whatever it is you may feel, be it anger, be it hate, be it doubt, be it fear, be it cynicism that you believe is out of alignment with your truth at any given moment, say out loud to yourself, or if the situation does not allow that, say strongly in your inner voice,
spread love, man.
All right, so get this. You send in this excerpt from a motivational speaker.
Okay.
And they're claiming to have this, like, powerful tool for controlling negative emotions.
Okay.
And it's not even just about managing them.
Right.
It's about actually, like, rewiring your brain.
Wow.
To make it almost impossible to fall back into those negative patterns.
It's a big claim.
I know, right? If that's not a hook, I don't know what is.
It's certainly bold and
Yeah.
definitely worth taking a closer look. I mean,
For sure.
who wouldn't want to break free from those negative cycles
Exactly.
that we all get stuck in sometimes?
Exactly. So let's dive into this tool.
Okay.
See what we can uncover.
Yeah.
So the speaker starts by really emphasizing
Okay.
the importance of, like, acknowledging and owning your negative feelings. They even say, you can't change what you don't own,
Interesting.
which really struck me. I don't know about you.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
It really is. And it kind of gets at the core of
Yeah.
a lot of therapeutic approaches, actually. Yeah. You know, we often try to just like push away or
Yeah.
ignore those uncomfortable emotions like
Yeah.
anxiety or frustration. But honestly, that just gives them more power, wouldn't you say?
It does. It's like trying to sweep dirt under the rug, you know?
Exactly.
It's still there,
Still there.
hidden from view.
Right. So how does the speaker suggest we actually own those feelings?
Yeah, how do we do that?
Well, they introduce this specific phrase
Okay.
to help us do just that.
Right.
They suggest completing what they call an emotional circuit.
Emotional circuit.
Yeah, by stating the feeling
Right.
and then adding to it, because I choose to believe.
So give me an example
Yeah,
of what that would sound like.
Imagine you're feeling cynical
Okay.
about a new project at work.
Mm-hmm.
Using this tool, you might say,
Okay.
I am feeling cynical because I choose to believe that I'm not capable of handling this challenge.
So you're not just naming the emotion.
Right.
You're going deeper
Yeah.
and identifying the underlying belief.
Exactly.
That might be fueling it.
Precisely. And by bringing that belief out into the open,
Yeah.
you're shifting from being like unconsciously controlled by it
Right?
to actively like examining it.
Yeah.
It's like shining a light on those hidden corners
Oh, I like that.
of our minds.
Yeah. So it's about taking ownership
Yes.
and bringing awareness to those beliefs
Exactly.
that drive our emotions.
Often subconscious.
Yeah. But the speaker goes even further.
Okay.
They actually claim that this technique can rewire our brains. That's where things get really intriguing.
It is. Now, of course, we have to be careful not to oversimplify
Yeah.
complex neuroscience, right?
Of course.
So when the speaker talks about rewiring the brain,
Yeah?
they're likely referring to neuroplasticity.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that term.
You have.
But a refresher would be great.
Yeah, so neuroplasticity basically refers to the brain's
Okay.
amazing ability to like change and adapt throughout our lives.
So it's not fixed.
It means our brains aren't fixed. No.
Oh, wow.
They're constantly forming new neural pathways
Huh.
based on our experiences
Okay.
and our behaviors.
So is it kind of like building a muscle?
Yes.
Like the more we use a particular muscle,
Yeah.
the stronger it gets.
Exactly.
So in this case, the more we practice choosing a certain response to an emotion,
So an emotion.
the stronger that neural pathway becomes.
That's a great analogy.
Really?
Yeah. The speaker might be simplifying the science a little bit,
Right.
but the core idea is rooted in this concept of neuroplasticity.
Okay.
Repetition and conscious choice can lead to lasting changes in our brains.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Great. Now, the speaker uses this really interesting analogy
All right.
to illustrate this whole process.
All right.
They talk about a bright star at our core,
Oh, wow.
surrounded by a shell of limiting beliefs.
Interesting.
Can you unpack that a little bit?
Yeah, it's a vivid image, isn't it?
It is.
What they're suggesting is that completing this emotional circuit by stating the feeling and the chosen belief, it's like cracking that shell.
Okay.
It allows the light and gravity of that inner star
Wow.
to kind of pull us in.
So the inner star represents our authentic selves.
Representing our authentic selves, yes.
Okay.
And those limiting beliefs are like obstacles,
Gotcha.
blocking us from our true potential.
Okay, so this tool helps us break free
Exactly.
from their grip.
It's about moving towards a more positive
Okay.
and empowered state
Okay.
by weakening the hold of that negativity.
I see.
And that analogy is a powerful way to visualize this whole process.
It is. It makes you think about what those limiting beliefs might be in your own life.
For sure.
What's holding you back?
What's holding you back from shining brightly?
Yeah.
Right? But before we get too carried away with the star analogy,
Okay.
the speaker also brings up another point about this process
Right.
that I think is worth exploring.
All right, let's do it. Right. There's more to uncover here. They mentioned that this process of rewiring our brains can actually make us more sensitive, not just to like positive vibes, but to negative ones as well.
Interesting.
That seems a little counterintuitive, doesn't it?
It might seem that way at first, but
Yeah.
think of it like this: as we become more aware
Okay.
of our internal landscape,
Okay.
you know, both the light and the shadows, we develop kind of like a more fine-tuned
Yeah.
radar system for our emotions.
I see.
It's like turning up the volume
Okay.
on our emotional awareness.
So it's not about becoming immune to negativity,
No.
but becoming more attuned to it.
Exactly.
So we can choose how we respond.
Precisely.
Yeah.
We're not trying to create some artificial bubble
Right.
of positivity.
Okay.
Instead, we're cultivating a deeper understanding
Yeah.
of our emotional responses, which allows us to navigate that full spectrum of human experience
Okay.
with more clarity and intention.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
This reminds me of the concept of mindfulness, which I think we've even touched on in past deep dives.
For sure. It's about paying attention
Yeah.
to our thoughts and feelings without judgment.
Right.
And the speaker seems to be suggesting
Yeah.
that this powerful tool can actually enhance
Okay.
your mindfulness practice.
Gotcha. The more aware we are
Mhm.
of our internal state,
Yes.
the better equipped we are
Exactly.
to make choices that support our well-being.
To support our well-being. Yes.
Okay, so we've talked about acknowledging our feelings,
Right.
identifying the beliefs behind them,
Mm-hmm.
and using this phrase to shift our perspective.
Yeah.
But how does that actually translate into rewiring our brains?
Right. How does it work in the brain?
Yeah. Well, it's happening on a neurological level.
Well, remember when we talked about neuroplasticity?
Yeah.
When we repeatedly engage
Yeah.
in a certain thought or behavior,
Okay.
the neural pathways associated with that thought or behavior
Yeah.
become stronger.
Okay.
It's like creating a well-worn path in a forest.
Yeah.
The more you walk that path, the easier it becomes to
To-
traverse.
So by consistently using this tool
Yes,
and choosing more positive responses,
exactly.
we're essentially strengthening the neural pathways
Uh-huh.
associated with those positive emotions
Yes,
and weakening the ones
right.
connected to negativity.
That's the idea. It's like we're shifting
Okay.
the balance of power in our brains,
I like that.
favoring those circuits that lead to greater well-being.
Okay, so that brings us back to their bold claim
Yeah.
about this technique,
Uh-huh.
making it almost impossible
Right.
to fall back into negative patterns.
It's a big claim, and it's important to remember that the speaker
Yeah.
is presenting kind of a simplified view
Okay.
of complex emotional processes,
Right.
while there's a growing body of research supporting the benefits of mindfulness
Okay.
and cognitive reframing techniques.
Yeah.
It's probably unrealistic to expect that we can completely eliminate negative emotions from our lives.
Of course not.
Yeah.
It's not a magic bullet.
It's not a magic bullet, no.
But the core message here seems to be that
Yes,
we have more agency than we realize
absolutely.
when it comes to shaping our emotional landscape.
I love that. And that's a really empowering message.
It is.
Instead of feeling like we're at the mercy of
Yeah.
our emotions,
Mhm.
we can learn to recognize them,
Okay.
understand them, and
Uh-huh.
choose how we respond to them.
So it's not about suppressing or denying our feelings.
Right.
It's about engaging with them
Exactly.
in a more conscious and constructive way.
It's about developing a more nuanced emotional vocabulary
Mm-hmm.
and using it to create a more fulfilling,
Okay.
and harmonious inner world.
This reminds me of something they said
Yeah.
about using this same technique
Okay.
for positive emotions as well.
Interesting.
They gave the example of saying,
Okay.
I feel joy because I choose to believe I deserve it.
Wow. What's the thinking behind that?
Yeah.
It's like a double dose
Okay.
of positive reinforcement by consciously acknowledging and embracing those positive feelings. We're further strengthening those neural pathways associated with joy and gratitude and love.
So we're not just weakening the grip of negativity.
Right.
We're actively cultivating
We are.
a more positive outlook.
Exactly.
That makes sense. But let's get back to that idea of becoming more sensitive to both positive and negative vibes.
Okay.
Could you elaborate on that?
Yeah. So one potential benefit is that we become more attuned to those subtle cues that our emotions are sending us. And this can help us identify potential triggers and make more conscious choices about the situations we expose ourselves to.
That sounds really helpful.
It can be, but
What about the challenge?
what about the challenges, right?
Yeah. Couldn't this heightened sensitivity?
It also make us feel more overwhelmed or vulnerable. That's certainly a possibility. Okay. It's important to remember that this is a process and it takes time to develop a healthy relationship with our emotions.
It's like anything else, practice makes progress.
Practice makes progress.
The more we work with this tool,
Yes.
the better we become
Exactly.
at navigating that full spectrum
Yes.
of our emotions.
And as we become more skilled,
Yeah.
we can start to see those so-called negative emotions
Okay.
as valuable sources of information rather than something to fear or avoid.
You know, I'm starting to see how this all ties together by acknowledging our feelings, understanding the beliefs behind them, and consciously choosing our responses.
Yeah.
We're essentially taking back control
We are.
of our emotional lives.
That's a great way to summarize it.
Really?
Yeah. We're moving from a place of reactivity
Okay.
to a place of empowerment.
And that empowerment, as the speaker suggests, can lead to a more positive and fulfilling experience of life.
Absolutely.
But I'm curious.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that star analogy?
The star analogy.
Yeah. It's a beautiful image.
It is.
But could focusing solely on positive beliefs create a distorted view of reality?
That's a thought-provoking question.
Yeah.
It's true that we don't want to create
Right.
like a Pollyannish view of the world where we just ignore or deny
Right.
the existence of challenges and difficulties.
So it's about finding a balance.
Finding a balance, yeah.
Embracing the light without denying the shadows.
Exactly. Recognizing that both positivity and negativity are part of the human experience
Okay.
and that we can learn and grow from both.
This has been such an insightful exploration.
It has been.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
From neuroplasticity to the star analogy.
To the star analogy. What does this all mean for our listeners?
Yeah. What's the takeaway? It seems like the biggest takeaway here is that we have way more power over our emotions than we think.
I agree.
This powerful tool, while maybe a little bit simplified, really encourages us to own our emotions.
Yes.
And shift from feeling controlled by them to consciously choosing how we respond.
Exactly. It all starts with awareness.
Yeah.
You know, acknowledging our feelings.
Right.
Identifying the beliefs that are driving them and actively choosing a different response. And you know what? We can actually begin to rewire those neural pathways and cultivate a more positive and balanced emotional state.
It's almost like we're getting the keys
Yes.
to the control panel of our minds.
To the control panel.
Right. And it takes work.
It does. It takes effort
Yeah.
and practice.
To really master these techniques.
For sure.
But the rewards could be huge.
Oh, absolutely. The potential rewards are huge.
Yeah.
It's definitely not like a quick fix. It's more of a journey of self-discovery and growth.
Okay.
Remember that analogy of building a muscle?
Uh-huh.
We need to consistently exercise those neural pathways associated with positive emotions to see real lasting change.
And the source even suggests that with practice, it can become almost difficult to fall back into those negative patterns.
I do say that.
But as you pointed out, it's important to remember that they are presenting a simplified view.
Right. It's not about becoming some kind of emotionless robot immune to all negativity. It's more about developing a healthy relationship with all of our emotions. You know, recognizing that both positivity and negativity have a role in our human experience.
So it's about learning to ride the waves.
Ride the waves, yes.
Of our emotions.
Exactly.
Instead of being swept away.
Instead of being swept away by them.
And this tool gives us a way to do that.
It does. It gives us a framework to become more conscious, more intentional, and ultimately more in control of our inner world.
I love it. This deep dive has been so eye-opening.
It has been fascinating, hasn't it?
It has.
Yeah.
We went from a simple phrase to rewiring our brains to stars and gravity.
To stars and gravity.
And a whole new level of emotional awareness.
It's really amazing.
I feel like I have a whole new toolkit now.
I hope our listeners feel the same way. The source material, you know, even though it uses simplified language, points to some deeper truths about how we relate to our emotions.
It reminds us that we are not just passive recipients of our feelings.
We are active creators with the ability to shape our inner world.
And that changes how we experience the world.
It all starts within.
It does. So to our listeners out there, as we wrap up this deep dive, we encourage you to really reflect on your own experiences with those negative emotions.
Take some time.
What beliefs might be dimming your inner star?
That's a good question. What beliefs are dimming your inner star?
And how can you use this powerful tool?
How can you practice it?
To shift from feeling controlled to consciously choosing your responses.
That's the key.
It is. It's a journey, not a destination.
Absolutely. Be patient with yourselves. Celebrate the progress you make. And keep exploring that amazing landscape of your own emotional world.
Until next time, keep diving deep.
Keep diving deep.
And keep shining bright.